Hora de raza! We are back once again with another all-star cast here. Roundtable 54. I'm Joe Habib. We got Dave from the 408 here from the Shoe Shine. We have G Funky Boxing, one half of HCP. We got rapper, producer, extraordinaire Sutter Kane in the house, baby.
Back in the place to be, baby.
El Capitan, the CEO of HCP, D-Style Boxing, and the always loquacious, outspoken, controversial Maestro from Maestro Boxing, baby. Wow. We're back with the aftermath here. The big weekend, Canelo-Plant, Canelo Alvarez. And full disclosure, I was very, very dismissive of Plant. I had Canelo Alvarez up here, and I had Plant down here in terms of skill. Had to reassess my opinion a little bit after watching that fight because it was a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. Now I got Canelo here, and I have Plant just a little bit higher than I did before. So I think Plant definitely earned his stripes, in my opinion. I think he did a good job. But the question I have to the panel is, did Canelo-Plant overexceed the perception that the public had of him? And did he prove that he belonged in the ring with Canelo Alvarez? Dave, I'm going to start with you first.
Ooh, yeah, well, he definitely exceeded my expectations because I had him probably getting knocked out in the earlier, so somewhere like in the ninth round. So in that sense, he definitely exceeded my expectations. What I did like was his defense. I did like that he knows Canelo starts slow, and he came out very aggressively establishing that jab. And sometimes that jab landed really flush. And early on, even like people watching casually in my house were like, hey, Canelo's missing a lot. What's going on with that? Like I had to explain, why is Canelo missing? So in that sense, he did exceed my expectations. And to the second part where you ask if he belonged in the ring, he absolutely belonged in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. He was the legitimate IBF title holder, and the missing equation to Canelo's destiny to be the first Latino 4-belt era champion, undisputed. So he absolutely deserved the $10 million that we all waited all year in negotiations waiting. This fight could have happened in September, which would have made it even greater on Mexican Independence Day, but it happened. It happened. And credit to Canelo for fighting 4 times in 1 year.
Maestro, I know you want to get in here, so I'm not going to make you wait any longer. All right, so go ahead. Do you have to eat? Do you have to eat your words a little bit, or?
Well, first of all, Dave made an earth-shattering statement just now. I mean,
okay.
He's shaking it up. He's changing the game. He literally just said that Canelo was the first Latino undisputed champion in 4-belt era. That's what I heard David say. I don't know if that's going to cause as much controversy coming from 408 as it did for me, but
we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about Plant here. Let's see what your assessment is of him.
No, my assessment is this. It depends what you define as being in the ring with Canelo. Like, does that mean that he had a shot at beating Canelo? If that's what it means, then no. If it means going rounds with Canelo and not get blasted out of there the way Yildirim did, like in the first 3, or Rocky Fielding did in the first 3, something that I was pretty much kind of predicting, tongue in cheek, of course. Then yes, I mean he did better than Mike he did better than Yildirim, and he did better than Rocky. Did he do better though than
I can't wait to jump in.
Mike Lee did against Canelo-Plant? Did he do better than Caleb Truex did against Canelo-Plant? Did he do better than Vincent Figgenbutts did against Canelo-Plant? These are still open questions, but he did go a lot longer than a lot of people thought he would, including myself. He also beat the betting line. For those of you that were willing to bet the over on the knockout, which I believe was at 9.5. So he did do that. But let's not get it twisted, okay? It was a one-sided fight. Let's not get it twisted. Canelo was in control of that fight. Canelo waited patiently to execute his plan. They had a plan to take him out late. He said it. I don't discount what Canelo says.
Not to interrupt you or cut you off, but because I want to get everyone in here. Just let's cut to the chase. Do you think he belonged in there? Did he prove that he belonged in there? Was it a horrible mismatch, or was it just one guy proving that he was better than the other guy?
Proved that he had any shot at beating Canelo, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Sutter Kane.
Oh, I can't wait. Check this out.
Go ahead.
First of all, Canelo had to earn them damn belts that night, that one belt that night. Canelo had to earn that. You feel what I'm trying to say? Because if you look at the beginning part, Canelo was hitting air. He was having Mayweather flashbacks. And he even said out his own mouth in an interview that he was frustrated and his coach had to calm him down. You feel what I'm saying? So it was looking really good. I had Canelo-Plant like straight up, man, like not, I wouldn't say winning. I would say when it got to around 7 and 8, it started to look kind of shaky. Like it started like he was losing breath and it looked kind of shaky. But he jumped back in and I was like, all right, cool. Then when the knockout, no bullshit, I was talking so much shit. And as soon as the knockout came, I said, fuck and stuff. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, as soon as the knockout came, bro. But Canelo was having Mayweather flashbacks. Like, there was no question about that, yo. He was making him look really like, bro, you ain't fast as me. But the stamina, the skills, and like I said, man, the power at the end of the day, fuck it. But he, but he was definitely made him work for that damn that last belt 100%. And I was on the edge of my seat 100. Matter of fact, I even text D Styles talking shit at 100%. Y'all was on the edge of my seat. So yes, he totally earned his stripes. Where does he go from here? We don't know.
Absolutely. Go ahead, D Style. Let us hear your thoughts.
So, but before the fight, I said, look, before we even talk about Canelo-Plant beating Canelo, he needs to first show he belongs in the ring with Canelo. And I did say I don't think he's going to show that, but I was wrong. Okay, like he did show he belonged in the ring. I did not watch that fight and say to myself, why is that guy in the ring with Canelo Alvarez? He doesn't belong in there. Like, that's not what I said to myself. It's not what the people I watched the fight with said. For the most part, people agreed that he belonged in the ring, and if we're gonna say he didn't, then we need to keep the same energy for Billy Joe Saunders. We need to keep the same energy for Callum Smith. We need to keep the same energy for Triple G a third time. Okay, a lot of fighters that Canelo fought that he clearly beat and better fashion than he beat Canelo-Plant, quite frankly, right? This to me was, of all the fights for Undisputed, in my opinion, was the most difficult of the three titleists that he fought. In my opinion, I think it was because Billy Joe's could have been a tougher fight, but his orbital bones had some other plans, right? Smith just was literally never in a fight. Okay, I think he lost every single round against Canelo. So I had it 6 rounds to 4 Canelo before the stoppage, right? That's how I had it. I knew that Canelo had to, turn the tide, and I was confident he would, but we still had to wait and see if it was going to happen. And it did. Like, he turned the tide somewhere in the 6th, 7th round. He started to take over. Now, before that, it was still competitive, though. I see a lot of channels saying he was schooling him and this and that. And I don't know about that. I mean, Canelo was doing some really good work in there himself. And the red ribs, okay, that we put the sauce on, okay, it says a lot about that. But one more thing. I think Canelo-Plant showed that he could be a future world champion as long as Canelo moves up or pursues other ventures, right, in other divisions. And I think Canelo-Plant can learn from this. He could improve, but we just don't know how it's gonna go. Some guys take a loss just fine and learn from it, like Canelo. Some fighters don't, right, like Nassim Hamed. So we're gonna see how that goes. So just wanted to go ahead and add that there.
Shout out to Nando Lamas. It says, jab the like. Salute to the panel in the chat. HCP. Thank you so much for that super chat. G Funk A. Did Canelo-Plant prove that he belonged in there with the great Canelo?
Well, I'll say this, man. I think that's kind of a peculiar question. I think all these guys at this level, deserve to be in the ring, and they're all at the level. I mean, but there are different levels, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like they're all around the same, you know. Obviously Canelo is the best super middleweight in the game right now. But as far as from what I've been hearing, I think that defensively, I've been hearing a lot of things with Plant, you know. I just say this, man, like you can't be just defensive when it comes to boxing, you know, like especially when you're in there with a guy like Canelo, who we know is going to get, you know, any close round, most likely with the judges. You know, you're in there against a guy who's got the big names, he's got 3 belts. So you can't just make a guy, you can't just slip and roll with shots and think that that's going to get you some clout with the judges. It's not. You got to make the guy pay. And that's the one thing that I think was missing from Plant's game, was that he was not firing enough counter shots off those misses early in the fight. I agree that the fight was close early. I had all of my swing rounds are within the first 5 rounds of this fight. Canelo took over the second half of that fight because he was doing some impressive footwork in there. He was able to keep up with Plant's footwork. He was able to cut the ring, force him in different directions, force him to fight when he didn't want to fight. And the body shots really took a toll. You could see, again, those ribs looked like they had dry rub, like they were getting ready to go into a smoker for a barbecue contest, all right? Like
sauce,
those things were red as can be. So, again, the defense, I mean, I don't know. I mean, how do you give a guy credit when his ribs are looking like that? Getting hit over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I mean, it just wasn't enough for me. You know, I felt like he should have done it more. Maybe he would have earned more respect. Maybe Canelo wouldn't have been so close the gap so easily if he would have, you know, pot shotted and countered more, but he just didn't do it. So, I mean, yeah, I think he's a good fighter. He's up there at the top with those guys. I do think he'll probably be a world champion again. So, credit to him, man. He lasted longer than I thought. I said 9.5. I was just a little off, but you know, it is what it is, man. But credit to Plant. You know, he did show a good account of himself there Saturday night.
Excellent.
Real quick, to Canelo's credit, I mean, you all talking about Canelo Alvarez, like easier said than done. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the guy is a monster. So the fact that he lasted that long and did what he did to the best of his ability says a lot, bro. Like, even though I agree it could have been more pot shots, more power shots, I totally 1,000,000% agree. But we are talking about Canelo Alvarez. One mistake will get you on that ground knocked out cold.
This is true, Sutter. But what I will say, and I was nodding my head a lot to what G Funky was saying, is that you can see when a guy's going into a fight to win the fight and is laying it all out on the line in the fight. And I'll give you an example of that. Chino Maidana, when he went in there against Floyd. He just trying to go in there and box his way to a distance fight that maybe or maybe not he would win on the cards. Caleb Plant needed to do a little bit of that because in order to make a statement and to get Canelo's respect, which is kind of what I was hearing from G-Funk, and I agree, he really needed to go in there to do damage early on. And if you win doing that, you win. If you lose doing that, you lose. But I don't see any path to victory for him boxing the way he did. And those are just my thoughts on it.
I will say this. A fighter could only do what he's capable of. I just don't think Caleb Plant is capable of doing what you guys are asking him to. If he would have tried that, he would have gotten knocked out early. And ain't no way Maestro was going to give him credit. Maestro was going to come here and, hey, I got to give the guy credit. I mean, he was sitting on his punches, trying to commit, you know what I mean? Trying to make a pay. And he got knocked out, but, you know, like, let's be honest now. You know, it's like the Say Hello to Heaven song. You know, the lyrics go something like, the words, they never listen. And teachers, they never learn. All right? The same.
Let me say this. If it was a Hagler Hearns for as long as it lasted, I think I would have been one of the first to give him credit for that. There's no shame in that. You know, but
he would have got knocked out early though, like real early. I think if he would have played that game, he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up losing anyways.
Yeah, but at the 11th round instead of the 5th round, he won the last.
I'll say this. I was hearing things about. Now I didn't hear this myself, but I've been hearing people on YouTube saying that Plant's trainer was quoted as saying, "Let's go 7-5." Like, our plan is to win 7 rounds, and if we get those 7 rounds early, let's coast. Like, that's just a horrible game plan. I'm sorry, man. You can't do that. Yeah. Like, other boxers have failed doing that. Like, you know, I've been on record saying that I thought Erislandy Lara outboxed him cleanly, and thoroughly for 12 rounds. I thought that the Trout fight was extremely close, but those guys did not. There was big wide scorecards there, so I mean, that's a hard way to beat Canelo Alvarez, man. Like you got it, like the way Floyd did it. He was landing clean, hard pot shots, snapping his head back. So I mean, Plant needed more of that, man.
The reason why that's horrible advice is because 7-5, there's always going to be swing rounds in there. So you may think you got that 7, but you probably don't have that 7. So I would say let's win 9 rounds at least. You know, we're in there with this guy. Let's win 9 rounds. Let's give ourselves a cushion.
We could sit here and we could say Plant should have done this. Well, he should have done this instead, and this and that. And Floyd did this. Well, he's not Floyd. He does not have Floyd's natural abilities. So to expect him to do what Floyd did, I think is ludicrous. And not only that, this is a much better version of Canelo.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
Yeah, I think this is like the boxing version of the prevent defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
It is like that's what it is.
Yeah, it's like Lara, right? Isn't that what Lara does every fight?
Well, the direct quote, I believe, and it's not a direct quote, but I'm pretty accurate in what I'm about to say. He was referring to it as a game, as like a 7-game situation.
But instead of prevent defense, it's prevent fighting. You know what I mean? Like let's just avoid fighting at all costs. No, but in all seriousness, I'm being a little funny here. But I will say this, just one last thing. Yes, Sutterkin was texting me. He should have probably waited a little bit. You know what I mean? He said to me, "Oh, you see Plant? I see what Plant is doing." And when he got that text, Plant was laid out. He was laid out on the mat. I was about to tell you, I see him. He's laid out on the mat.
Yeah, I was talking super shit. And as soon as I sent the last one, I pressed send. And then he got knocked out right there.
Oh,
and I said, fuck.
It happens to all of us, bro, you know?
Yeah. It's only if you could delete the text. Like, if you could just pull it back.
Before we transition to the next topic, I just want to report some news out there that was reported by Lance Pugmire. He's saying that he talks to an insider, someone in the know, and it looks like, according to his source, that Canelo-Plant is trending upwards of 800,000 pay-per-view buys. It's not confirmed yet, so we don't know how accurate that is. But if that is the case, those are pretty solid numbers for Canelo, because you have to keep in mind he has been off pay-per-view for a while. He's doing the zone fights, so that's a great showing.
Competition that night too.
Yeah, and he had exactly, very good point. He had competition going up against the UFC, so doing 800,000 pay-per-view buys going up against that UFC card. If that is accurate, those are impressive numbers, man. That's what you call a pay-per-view star, in my opinion.
Can I say something real quick?
Go right ahead.
So I just want to say this about that, to put it in perspective, okay? This paper, if this is true, of course, keep in mind we're just going by what a reporter said. He said his sources say, so who knows, right?
Yeah.
But if this is true, and if what Espinoza was saying about the gate numbers are true, this fight, Plant Canelo, right, did similar numbers, pretty much the same almost, as Fury versus Wilder 2, which was promoted by ESPN and Fox, the two largest sporting entities in this country. All right. And was promoted for a while. They were on First Take, they were on this, they were on that, and it did similar numbers. Just think about that. Imagine if Fox would have taken up this fight. Imagine if Fox would have been behind it, which is a bigger platform than Showtime. It might have done $1 million.
Well, just to put this in perspective, too, I was on a panel a few months ago with a lady who was essentially saying that in today's day and age, 200,000 buys is a pay-per-view star. So, I mean, if that's a pay-per-view star, what does that make Canelo?
Yeah, 250 miles, so 250,000.
Mega star? Like, what is that? So let's see how Tank Davis does on pay-per-view, by the way. And then once that's all the dust is settled on that one, we can compare stardom between the two.
One more thing, so I can let anybody else chime in, and I'll shut up about it. But really quick, you're right, babe, and you've said this for a long time, and I've always agreed. But just to put it in perspective, and this is for all the people that talk about the stadium fights, and the money is in Vegas, $18 million at the gate, okay. And you know what I mean? That doesn't lie, man. It just doesn't. The big fights, Vegas owns it. Like, you know what I mean? It's, whether you like it or not, it's just Vegas is where it's at.
I agree.
What would you rather do if you were selling cars? Would you rather sell 200 Lamborghinis, or would you rather sell 1,000 Hyundais? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same.
I want to chime in and say this, man. 800,000 is really, really good considering, again, who he was in there with. Not a lot of people know who Plant is. Again, with the UFC on as well, he had competition. I mean, look, a lot of these Mayweather fans, ever since Canelo went undisputed, have been coming out of they're coming out again out of nowhere. They're looking like, oh, this and that. Well, you guys were okay when he was doing 800 to 700 against Chino Maidana the first time. You know, a guy, again, who, like Canelo-Plant, was not very known to the casual. So, hey, you're going to have to keep it consistent, man, and give some credit here to Canelo.
Absolutely.
So if he did this, go ahead.
No,
Joe, you mentioned stiff competition with the UFC, as Santiago Media pointed out in our chat. One of those paying customers, according to Dana White, right out of his mouth, he was watching the fight ringside. So must watch combat sports.
You could see him doing. He was watching it on his laptop. Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way: if he did 800,000 with Canelo-Plant, imagine what he's going to do with a guy like Benavidez.
That's over $1 million.
Now, that's definitely over $1 million, like hands down. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just gonna call it now. Like, Canelo beats Benavidez too. Like, it's not even like a lot of people hyped on Benavidez, but nah, I'm not picking against Canelo no more, man. That's it for me on that one. Yeah. Like I said before, Canelo can go to heavyweight and fight Tyson Fury, and I'll pick Canelo and stuff. Like, it's a done deal with that one.
Let's transition to our next topic. Who should Canelo fight next? Start with
Benavidez.
Start with you, Sutter Kane.
Yeah, Benavidez, man. I think you should go straight to Benavidez, bro. Just get it out the way. Because to me, he could beat Benavidez. I'm going to be so honest with you. Like, I don't really see what people are seeing. Like, I know he got the power and everything, but Canelo got so much technique and skill that, I mean, he'll just adjust to what Benavidez is doing, and then there'll be the same situation all over again. I don't think he'll knock Benavidez out, but I think he'll box him, like, to a clean, like, unanimous decision. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I see it, man. I don't see I see the hype, but I don't see the hype. And after this weekend, I really 100% Canelo. Like, it's not even, and Benavidez is only 23. So you don't even have the experience that Canelo got. That's another thing. He's super young. So yeah, I got Canelo all day on that one if they do fight. But that's who he should go with, straight up. If he wants to get a tune-up, I think it should be who is it? One of the Durrell brother.
Anthony Durrell.
It should be Anthony Durrell as a tune-up. Yeah, just to get his feet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just if he took a year off, go straight to Anthony Durrell just to get back in the ring, get the rust off for the year, and after that, go straight to Benavidez, man. I think that would be hype. I think that would be really good because if he knocks out Anthony Durrell, who just knocked out the other dude, it'll look really good. And it's like the hype is there again. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Canelo beats Benavidez, and I'm gonna keep saying it every time I'm on here.
Absolutely. Dave, who would you rather see Canelo fight next, man?
Yeah, I think people are going to be surprised, but I'm actually thinking that David Benavidez is going to be a very special fight. And since Canelo's kind of insinuating he won't be fighting until May, Cinco de Mayo of next year, that fight can marinate a little bit. And we know that David, if he wants to play it to his advantage, we know that David Benavidez has problems making weight on the scale. And we're going to find out on Friday because this Saturday, David Benavidez is fighting. So we're going to see what his weight issues are. I think that fight can marinate all the way until September of next year and Mexican Independence Day. I would not mind seeing Charlo move up to 168. I think that fight would sell tremendously on Cinco de Mayo. And I also think people are sleeping, and there's a lot of disagreement whether or not Triple G is a viable opponent. And we're going to find out in December whether or not, this rematch, the third rubber match, may be over-marinated. He's going to be approaching 40 years old. But the success in box office gate, live gate, and pay-per-view sales was so tremendous that there might actually be a demand secretly to see them wrap it up with a trilogy. And
Triple G gets knocked out.
And
just want to put that out there.
On Cinco de Mayo would sell fantastically. In fact, I just wanted to point this out while we're on the subject of Las Vegas. One of the only reasons that fight was staged this past week at the MGM Grand, which is a small arena compared to the new T-Mobile, and even smaller compared to the big goal Canelo has, which is selling out the new Allegiant Raiders Stadium, is one of the reasons was because they weren't available. And another thing is because they just opened up foreign tourism. And if people who've been to Canelo fights know that some of the wealthiest Mexicans from Mexico, and I'm talking people with money, come and make it a weekend in Las Vegas.
I mean,
Canelo's not going
to, you know what I mean?
Canelo is not going to have any problems selling out the Raiders Allegiant Stadium.
That would be great.
So, and that's something to consider next Cinco de Mayo or Mexican Independence Day. I think he's going to be the first to hold a boxing event there.
D-Style, who do you think should be next for Canelo if you were the matchmaker here?
Well, look, I guess that kind of goes contrary to what I was going to say. So let's do two lanes. Lane one, if I was the matchmaker, what would I do? I mean, I think we already know what they're going to do. I mean, they're going, whether people like it or not, okay, you guys could groan, save me your groan, save me, oh, come on, or whatever you want. He's going to fight the dog Darrell. That's what he's going to fight next, okay?
Yeah.
That's the fight we're going to get. That's the one they promoted. That's why they put him on the undercard. That's why they have Darrell. This dude, these Al Haymon fighters don't say things unless they're told to say it. He was told to say that you're going to retire unless you fight the winner of this fight. You're not going to settle for any less. And they're going to go with that, okay? They're going to tell that story, okay? And that's that, okay? Now, what would I like to see? Me personally, I don't even mind if he doesn't fight for the rest up until May. Go ahead and fight Benavidez. Now, Dave, I don't like even insinuating, let him get an advantage with the weight, because that feeds to narratives.
I agree.
We already got narratives out here, brother. Like, it's my opinion, but he don't need no advantage over Benavidez, nothing. If Benavidez can't make the weight, he should go to 175, and Canelo will see him when he goes to 175. You know what I mean? But especially in the eve of freaking Marquez saying that the dude can never be the greatest Mexican because he has all these stipulations, always tries to get the advantage, and I think Canelo's in the opposite of trying to get advantages. Especially since he started this new campaign, he's going out of his way to give the other guys advantages. He gave Billy Joe the ring size and everything for that very reason. I just want to point that out. Benavidez is my answer. I want to see him fight Benavidez. I think that's a great fight. I do think he stops Benavidez, but I think it's fun while it lasts. I do like, I think it was Mac in the chat saying, the Thriller in Sinaloa, let's do it. All right.
Maestro, if you had your druthers, who would you want Canelo to fight next?
I mean, I'm with D-Style on this. We were talking about it recently, and look, for all of the people that want to see Benavidez fight Canelo, and if he stays at 168, that seems like a logical fight to make, right? Well, I mean, why wasn't he the co-feature on Saturday night? I think the obvious answer to that is because they don't have any intention of having him face Benavidez. The question is, why was Anthony the Dog Darrell, the co-feature? Well, let's get him a spectacular KO against some lower level competition. Let's get people excited about that, and let's build towards that. So there's that angle. I think if I'm a Mexican, I'd want a Craig Haugen type fight. And I think Mexico's been waiting a long time to see Canelo fight in Mexico again. And for those who don't know, Craig Haugen was an opponent of Julio Cesar Chavez, who we fought at like 150,000 in front of 150,000 people in the national stadium, Estadio Azteca, in the southern part of Mexico City. I think that's what I would like to see happen. Because, he's a Mexican. He represents Mexico at his fights and his press conferences. Let's have him fight outside of United States. Let's have him fight back home in Mexico. Failing that and staying at 168. Now, I said this on Sunday on the Boxing Voice. It was really controversial. I think that he's going for legacy at this point in his career, and that legacy means, let's try to go for undisputed in a second weight class, kind of like Usyk is. Now, Ness was, I think he should take on Rivas for the Bridgerweight title. That's the best possible.
Random alert. Random.
And I was like, whoa, really? You guys,
that's for another show, man. We could go on all day of some of the stuff Ness says, man.
Anyways, long story short, I don't think that's a viable option.
No, we all know that. We all know that. That's obvious.
it's two lanes at this point, guys. Either he tries to defend the undisputed title a few times at 168, or he moves up for legacy number 2 and takes on the best he can at 175. And Zurdo's up there at 175. I think that's a good fight. I think
So
that's
what's your favorite fight next for Canelo? If it's you, if you could pick
I'd
it.
love to see him take on Zurdo, but he doesn't have a title. He doesn't have a title. So
right.
gotcha. I think Joe Smith at the Yankee Stadium across the street from me is what I'd like to see. Okay. That's what I'd like to see.
Gotcha.
Well, of course, you could just walk there, right?
G, who would you like Canelo to fight next if you could pick?
If I could pick, obviously I want to see him fight El Bandera Roja, but I don't think it's going to be next. I think that's going to happen probably September of 2022. I do think that there's going to be a light touch for his next fight, which he deserves. You know, he just fought 3 champions out of his last 4 fights, became undisputed. So I'm not gonna be upset if he has a soft touch in between, as long as he gives us something good after.
Yeah,
and,
which he usually does.
Yeah, and I said the same thing with the Yildirim fight. I know nobody wanted to see that, nobody asked for that, but it was a stay busy fight, and then he gave us Billy Joe Saunders, which is a tricky opponent. So I was good with that. Then Plant right after. So I mean, yeah, Darrell. I mean, look, I like Darrell, man. He's tough, veteran, but I mean, he doesn't have a shot to win that fight. Maestro, I think that would be a great idea to do a opponent like Darrell in one of those big stadiums down there in Mexico. That would be really, really cool to see. Just like you said, the old Julio Cesar Chavez days where he would pack stadiums, fighting guys like that. So as long as he gives us something good, but I really like the Benavidez fight. I want to see that. I've been asking for that for a long time. I think he could probably beat all the other champions that Canelo had beat in that division. He just, couldn't hold on to his belt for other reasons. So I'm good with a soft touch as long as we get Benavidez after.
G Funky, if I might interrupt, guys, I think looking back at January when he fought Yildirim, the criticism that Canelo got was unnecessary, because really what it did was keep him sharp. It sharpened everything in preparation for what we saw, ultimately what we saw for this calendar year. It was really, really important for him to stay busy and stay sharp. And his skills are just so much above everybody else who's taking these long layoffs. So I don't mind Canelo getting back in January or February before a big super fight in May. If it's going to be Benavidez, a Darrell fight would not be a bad idea sometime January or February.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, I just want to remind everybody in the chat, please hit the like button if you can. Share the video if you can. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone, tonight. Yeah, I mean, if I could pick, I would pick David Benavidez, because just for entertainment value alone. And I think Sutter makes a great point. The problem with, I love Benavidez. I mean, he could fight on the outside, he could fight on the inside, but he's a little too brave, though, right? He has that machismo. Yeah. He has that machismo in him, and he's going to want to slug it out with Canelo. And I'm not so sure that if these guys go punch for punch on the inside, that he'll be the last man standing in that exchange. That's the one caveat for David Benavidez, But another feather in his cap is he's a volume guy. He throws a ton of punches, and he throws a wide array of punches too. He's very versatile, goes to the body. So it would be a very interesting fight. But at some point, I just can't not envision, or help but envision, I should say, David Benavidez not wanting to go for broke in that fight, and maybe get a little too brave and possibly get caught and stopped. It is possible that could happen.
He's going to want to test it.
I want to add something.
That's what we want.
Let me add this. One, look, I don't like it when guys have a style, and then when they reach like that fight, like a Canelo fight, then they try to switch it up and they're not themselves. No, like, if and when he fights Canelo, Benavidez needs to be himself, because that's what got him there, right? Yeah. So I get it. Oh, people are saying, come on, if he does that, he'll get knocked out. Like, well, that's how he fights, though, right? Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, none. And I've been very disappointed with every single super middleweight and obviously light heavyweight like Kovalev. They didn't try to use their size on Canelo. None of them. Like, can you give it a shot? Like Maestro even said, like, you weren't going to win anyway. Well, give it a shot. Like, go in there, be the bigger man, and give it a shot. You know, because he ain't going to outbox Canelo. That ain't going to happen. Okay, he ain't going to win that way. So go there, be yourself, try to bully him, and you never know. Anything could happen, bro. One punch could change anything. Canelo can. You never know, right? But I do want to say this. I want Canelo to be a defending undisputed champion, which we haven't had since Bernard Hopkins. Okay, these guys win the undisputed championship and they move on. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, what happened to being a defending champion? That used to be a big fucking deal in boxing. Now you got, he should move up and fight Rivas. Like, what do you mean? You want him to go way over there? Like, well, we got some smoke here, right? I want it to be a defending champion. I want the same for Tater, although it looks like he's going to be moving up, right? And I do want to say, throw a jab at the like button. All right, that's all. I wanted to add that.
No, D-Star, you're right. I'd like to see Taylor do it too. Unfortunately, he got some injury, so that fight's being delayed. And I hope Canelo, even though he's met his goal of unifying all of these titles, and it was not an easy road, by the way. Let's not underestimate or diminish what he's done. He fought 4 guys in less than 365 days, so in less than a year. I'm hoping he can keep up the activity again, even if they throw us Darrell, at least making an event. Like I was saying, G-Funky, and it seemed like you were agreeing to that. Even if they throw us a Darrell, make it an event, send it to Mexico, and let's keep the fights going. Because I also think that Canelo's very important to the vitality of the sport right now in terms of making sure the eyeballs and the interest are on it. He moves the numbers, he brings attention to the game, and that's always a good thing. So let's keep him fighting often. At least I say that's what I hope will happen.
Yo, the reason why I feel a lot of people change their style up when they fight Canelo, because them fucking counter punches hurt. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Them counter punches fucking hurt, bro. Because if that's the case, when you look back at Mayweather, a lot of people would say, well, why didn't you just do this and do that? Them counter punches, man, like, it don't look like a lot, but when them shit starts stinging round 5, 6, 7, you like, man, fuck this. Like, let me figure something else out. That's why I personally think Benavidez is going to want to test it to see if the power is real. Like, I think he's going to test it, and I think he's going to get what he's asking for, man. And I mean, if he does do what you say, and he does that style, which I want him to do, it can go up for grabs, man. But I still just think Canelo just smarter, and he'll just figure that shit out, man. And so he got a good chin, bro, a real good fucking chin.
I think Benavidez will push him.
Yeah, it's hard.
He'll push him.
It's hard to not favor. It's hard to not favor Canelo over just about everyone right now. And here, one last point before we transition to the next topic. Everyone says, well, what's going to happen when Canelo gets in there and gets hit with a big puncher? Well, he was in there with Golovkin, and Golovkin hit him.
For real.
And he took them shots. He took them shots very good, very well.
He was in there with Kovalev.
He was in there with Kovalev. So he was in there with
your thought, B. Like, he was talking, and 3 of you cut him off. Come on, go ahead, B.
He was in there. He was in there, with big punchers, and he took their shots, and I think he proved he could take a shot.
But he was in there with Jose Cotto, bro. Remember that?
That was the last time he was hurt.
Stinky leg.
Here's my thing. Have all of you seen what Callum Smith did in his return fight to Lenin Castillo?
Yeah, he knocked him out.
No, it was worse than knocking him out. I mean, the guy was twitching.
Sent him to the hospital.
They stretched him out of the ring. Like, the guy, and people, oh, wow, that's Callum Smith. No, Callum Smith was a legit guy, ladies and gentlemen. And Canelo, as D-Style said, essentially shut him out and took the best he had and dished it right back at him. So, look, people got to give the man his credit. They just do.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, I picked against Canelo for like so many fights, and
I used to back in the day. I used to pick against Canelo. I stopped picking against him.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm finished with that now.
We have a very, very interesting fight coming up Saturday that I think, at the very least, is going to be a barn burner in terms of entertainment value, as long as it lasts, and that's Gabe Rosado versus Jaime Munguia. Now, it's very interesting because I think Gabe, in his last couple of fights, has really made a resurgence in the sport of boxing. I thought he beat Danny Jacobs. I had him winning that fight. Agree. Although it was a split decision loss, I thought he won that fight. Coming off a really great, impressive knockout victory over Bek the Bully, right? And this fight with Jaime Munguia, when it opened up, he was like a plus 660, and Jaime Munguia is a minus 1100, right? Now it's like Jaime Munguia is down to like a minus 600, and Gabe is like a plus 300 right now. So the odds are closing. I think Gabe is very live. I want to hear you guys' opinion. Do you think Gabe's got a shot here? But before I go to D-Style, I want to thank Terrence Scott for becoming a new member. Thank you so much for joining the Ringside Reporter team. We appreciate that. So D-Style, do you think that Gabe has the ability to pull off the upset here? Can he win this fight?
I will say minus 1100 is ridiculous. So it's plus 600. I will say that just to start off. I get that they'll close with the odds and all that. And the reason I say that, and I've always said this, Munguia, while he's exciting to watch, and I'm not saying he's not good, and he's got the best trainer in the game, Eddie Morales, that doesn't hurt, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm joking about that, but they're definitely one of the best fighters of all time. But Munguia ain't that dude like that. Munguia's an action fighter. I've been telling people this for a long time. When Munguia retires, he's going to have like 10, 11 losses in his record. I really do believe that. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, what I'm saying is that this is a guy that's beatable. And that's actually what makes him exciting. That's actually why I tune in to watch Munguia, right? And I think that if there's ever been an actual live dog, it is Rosado in this case. Rosado at this point, now, we've been saying this a lot, but this could be his last chance to get over that damn hump that he just can't get over, right? Sometimes he either got destroyed or beat or a box, or the judges didn't give it to him. Whatever it is, he's got to go for it this time. If it's too close, bro, you got to go for it this time. You know what I mean? Like he needs to get over that hump, right? Something just tells me he's just destined to never get over the hump. So I don't think he's going to win the fight, but I do think he's a live dog. I do think Munguia might struggle for the first few rounds, but then I think somewhere in the middle rounds, he's going to take over. I think the pressure's going to get to Rosado. And for those that don't know, Rosado has a horrible time against pressure fighters.
Yep.
He just does. Okay, Angulo destroyed him. Now, I get he's grown and got it better since then. But his weakness is not guys like Jacobs that box him. He kind of likes that. He likes guys that box him. He doesn't like it when they're in his face, right, and make it a phone booth type of fight. He does not like that. If Munguia decides that he's a boxer and he wants to be Eddie Morales in there all of a sudden, he might lose some rounds, which is what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to try to box Rosado early, and then he's going to just resort to what he does, and then he'll take out Rosado. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. G-Funky, does Gabe Rosado have a shot in this fight? And is he worth putting a little tickle on?
He absolutely does have a shot to win this fight. And I always say this, when it comes to dogs like this, if you got a little house money, why not throw a little something on Rosado? I do think he's got a shot. I feel like he's got a few things going for him. Obviously, he's got some momentum. A lot of people felt like he beat Jacobs, so I felt like it was such a horrible fight. But
we lost.
But I mean, here's another thing too. I feel like I don't know. Disa always quotes somebody when he says this, but the knockouts give you amnesia. Dwyer. Yeah, shout out to Dwyer. I feel like that knockout definitely did that for Rosado, and the reason why I say that is because he was getting beat up by Bek. I mean, I think people got to go back and watch that fight. Bek had already put him down. Bek was going for the kill. And when you open up like that on a guy, again, you're always available to get hit yourself. And that's exactly what happened there. Now, 100% credit to Rosado for landing that shot and getting that dude out of there. That was a tremendous knockout. But again, he was getting beat up before that. I think if he's got a chance to win this fight, he's going to have to do it early. Munguia, very slow, very flat-footed. And a very slow starter at that. So if I'm Rosado's trainer, I think he's trained by Roach now. Actually, let me jump on this motherfucker right away. Make his ass fight right away. Don't wait around for him to get warmed up. Then he can start landing shots on you, start opening you up, start getting cuts on you. Jump on his ass early. That's what I think his best shot is to win. But I don't know. I don't feel like that's what he's gonna do. But I do think it's going to be a close fight. I said controversy. I think there's going to be people arguing back and forth about who won this fight when it's over. But I think at the end of the day that Munguia will get the win. But you just never know, man. I think he is live. He could pull something out of the hat. Who knows? But good fight. Looking forward to it.
Maestro, who's going to win on Saturday? And does Rosado have a shot here?
This whole framing of this fight to me is like super interesting, because people are acting as if this is Gabriel I was about to say Montoya. Oops, Gabriel Rosado's last opportunity to win a world title. This is his shot. It's his Rocky moment. He's not fighting for a world title, guys. I just looked it up because I wanted to see what was at stake here. It's the World Boxing Organization Intercontinental Middleweight title. And, yeah, you know, I asked before the show who's the greatest intercontinental
Macho Man
champion of all time. I said it was Ramon because I'm only looking at guys that haven't won world titles when I asked that question. But the fact is, you know, people are like, oh, well, he looked so good in his last fight. Okay. The guy was 7-0.
You took the words out my mouth.
The guy was 7-0, ladies and gentlemen. And to G Funky's point, he went in there with reckless abandon after knocking down Gabe Rosado, probably thinking, oh, I got this washed up dude like on ice right now. It's about over. He's on Bambi legs. And no, he's not a washed up fighter, far from it. But, you know, Floyd used to say, you know, 45 have tried and 45 had failed. And then it was 46 and it was 47 and it was 49 have tried and 49 have failed. Well, 13 guys have tried and 13 guys have succeeded against Gabriel Rosado. You know, and Munguia is going to be the 14th guy to try and succeed. I got to tell you, and I'm agreeing with D-Style 100%. He's a pressure fighter. He's not trying to box you on the back foot. There's a reason he's got losses against guys like David Lemieux.
Hold on, you agree 99.99%.
Pardon me?
Just 99.99%.
Do we have another 100% from my
just to not, because then Munguia's going to get knocked out. You know what I mean?
I can't go that far because Munguia does have a few defensive lapses. There's no doubt.
Bro.
But having said that, I have not seen him go in with the kind of reckless abandon that Bek the Bookie did. The Bully did. And
call the bookie.
The fact is that he got sparked out, but it was a 7-0 fighter. It was a 7-0 fighter, guys. And look, it is what it is. Look, it's not a world title fight. This isn't his last chance at a world title. Even if he does win against Munguia, who's he fighting for a world title next? Maybe Andrade if he can't get an opponent, I guess. I don't know, but let's not make more of this than it is. It's an intercontinental championship, and I'll leave it at that.
Sutter Kane.
Bro, let me tell you something,
brother. Go ahead.
Gabe Rosado is who we know he is. A guy who's gonna get knocked the fuck out. I don't know why everybody's hyping this guy up. He's gonna get the shit beat out of him by Jaime Munguia. He might look good for maybe 1 or 2 rounds, and Jaime Munguia by the 5th or 6th round is gonna just dog walk him, and it's gonna be done, bro. Like I don't even know why. I say 100%. I'm not even going 99.9, 99.2, 100%. Gabe Rosado will be fucked up, and it'll be a done deal with this fight. And so there's no possible way he's gonna beat Jaime Munguia. There's no way. I'm telling you that there's no fucking way. And so I've seen Gabe Rosado live. I was actually there for the Lemieux fight. I saw him live. Like just in general, bro. The thing we like about Gabe Rosado is that we always believe he has a chance, but we gotta stop believing that now, bro. Like he had a lot of chances, and the shit never came about. The Daniel Jacobs was very close, and like you said, Maestro, the last dude was 7-0. He was a kid and stuff. He made a fucking reckless mistake. He was a fucking kid, bro. You talking about Jaime Munguia? Like Are you fucking kidding me, man? Yo, I'm telling you right now, Gabe Rosado is in at the house saying, "I'm getting a good paycheck. I might beat this dude, I might not, but fuck it. Hey, I get my check, my bills are paid, and I get to go home."
Thank you.
That's what it is.
Thank you so much, D Style Boxing, for the $5 super chat. He says you're tuning in to HCP Roundtable 54. Orale! All right, Dave, are we gonna put a little money on Rosado? Or
You know
not?
what? When I first heard this fight get announced, I was kind of pissed off at Jaime Munguia because I'm like, do you not see and recognize that this is Rosado 2.0, the guy who's gone to Hollywood? This is the guy who's beaten the Hollywood curse. Boxers who've been in movies or MMA athletes who've gone into movies, traditionally their careers fall apart.
That's right. He also lost to Creed. I forgot about that. Yeah, he also
Or hang around rappers. Or if they hang around rappers.
He's beaten that curse, and he actually looks like a rejuvenated new version of Gabe Rosado after what he's pulled off these impressive near wins against. Well, I think he should have beaten Danny Jacobs. So yeah, I was a little bit pissed off at Jaime Munguia because he was the mandatory to fight Demetrius Andrade. And I thought, not only does that look like a duck, but I think he was mentally and physically ready to take on Demetrius Andrade. If you're going to get a loss, you might as well go for your second world title. So I think Gabe Rosado is entirely still dangerous. But taking that into account, listen, Munguia's not everything y'all crack him up to be, because did you guys remember seeing Takashi Inoue go life and death with the guy? Or maybe Dennis Hogan nearly embarrass him in Mexico? I mean, we could get a Munguia. He has lapses. These defensive lapses still continue to hound him. Again, Rosado has a big history of getting his face lacerated, and this is the perfect opponent for Jaime Munguia. This is the perfect opponent for Jaime Munguia, and he also has this horrible thing when he drops weight, and he's a big guy. Gabe Rosado's really filled out his frame now in his 30s, and coming down to 160, that's not going to help him. I don't care what nutritionist he's working with in LA. That is definitely going to weaken him and give the advantage to Jaime Munguia. I think we could end up possibly seeing a fight like Zepeda-Barancek in 2020. Rosado goes down. His chin isn't the best, and we haven't seen Munguia go down. And if he does, hey, even better, right? I have Jaime Munguia by a decision win. And Gabe Rosado could come close, and he will not get the nod.
It's called getting a paycheck, my friend. It's called, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get this fight. I may have a chance to win in my mind, but my physical body is not going to agree with my mind that night. It's called getting a paycheck, bro.
Anybody who knows
is going to go.
If there's one fighter, Gabe Rosado, who out there, it's Gabe Rosado who knows how to be on the losing end of a close call.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because when Gabe Rosado comes off a big win like this, it's like, oh, does he have a chance? So he's like, okay, you know what? Shit, we can get some money out of this. Let's go fight Jaime Munguia real quick. You know what I'm saying? My salary goes up. I go in there. I might have a chance, but in reality, he has no chance. Like zero, my friend, zero.
And who are we to stand in the way of anybody earning? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's a good check. That's how I feel about the Durrell and Canelo. It's a good check for Durrell. It's a nice check. Is he gonna win? Hell no.
There's also the losing of a TKO too. 2 cuts as his
bro. That's what I'm saying, man. His face, bro. If the glove just grazes by his face, it automatically the cuts open up.
Sutter, if you go like this in his face, he's gonna start bleeding.
Bro, that's how I used to say. Yo, this is totally off topic. That's what you say about Amir Khan. Like you could throw a rock at him, and he'll just knock it out.
Well, Maestro asked a good question. He said, "What's at stake here?" Well, interestingly enough, Jaime Munguia is ranked number 1 by the WBO and by the WBC. So if he beats Munguia, I mean, he'll be ranked may. I'm not saying he will. He could very well be ranked number 1 in either the WBC or the WBO if he beats Jaime Munguia. And so
I would be shocked.
Or they can do what they usually do, which is just drop the guy that was ranked and raise the next guy up. But they could have depending on how Munguia, if he were to lose, if he was a close fight, they could still make him number 1. The WBC is notorious for doing stuff like that.
You know,
Bro, Gabe has no chance, man. I'm sorry. This time
Zero?
around,
Zero
he
chance?
has no chance, bro.
Okay.
He has no chance, man. And stuff. The Daniel Jacobs, like you said it, I think it was you who said it. You said it the best. I think it was you or D-Style. One of y'all said it the best, where the Daniel Jacobs style was perfect for him.
Yeah, D-Style
but
said
guys who pressure him and trying to like take his head off,
yeah.
he just don't got it, bro. It's like he doesn't.
Can't
He
handle the
really
pressure.
doesn't, bro. He can't handle it. In his mind, he could, but his body cannot handle it, bro. It's just like he starts breaking down and starts looking terrible, bro. Like really
Yeah.
bad.
That's why
So I
a
think this is
fast
gonna be the same thing. Yeah, I
think
just
a fast
don't.
start would be good for Rosado, but we'll see.
You're right. If he jumps on him, but does Rosado really have the power to knock out a Munguia? I mean, come on, man. I don't know.
Where did this ranking in the WBC come out of? Because the last time they were published, right? The number 2 guy was Devin Chen. Oh, sorry, my fault. No, it's right there. My fault. I can't read. He's number 1. I just don't remember him being there before.
No, I just found out today. Someone told me. I wouldn't even have thought about it until someone brought it to my attention today.
I knew he was ranked in the WBO because he had that automatic thing that they give you in the WBO.
Yeah,
and you move up.
Yeah, they tend to do that. Yeah, they tend to do that.
I can't keep track of the WBC. It's like they pull guys up at the rankings, much like the WBA does too. As a matter of fact,
it depends on who paid him that week.
I'd love to have like a webcam in a WBC rankings meeting because I really want to understand their like methodology.
Be a fly on the wall.
There's no
case by case,
well, for those that don't know, Mauricio just sits down in the toilet, takes a shit, and just comes up with an idea, and that's it. That's all it is.
Yep. Well,
He changes a lot, bro. You ain't lying on that one, man. He changes his stance on things like weekly.
Well, look at his views on the franchise championship.
Well,
Like,
you know,
constantly.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on here. We could talk about the WBC and Mauricio Sulman all day. There's enough material to go.
we do a
on.
whole roundtable on that.
Yeah, we could do
Yeah,
whole
for real.
show on that. But finally, it's here. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury.
Somebody came to my house and asked me, was I going to watch that fight? Literally, and I laughed. Like, are you serious?
Can I
We'll
protest
get to that.
my own show right here? Can I walk out of the show?
December
Bruh.
18th, this is set. Now, you guys, not you guys, but the media and the public has asked, when is Jake Paul going to fight a real boxer instead of continuing to fight these MMA guys? Well, Tommy Fury's a real boxer. He's 7-0, pretty much. He's got more experience than Jake Paul. So, is this Jake Paul's first test as a boxer? Do you guys even care about this fight?
Bro, I didn't even know this fight was going on.
We'll get to it. And are you going to buy the pay-per-view? Maestro, hit me with it, brother.
Look, Joe, I don't care what.
Everybody look at Maestro.
I'm hearing some background noise. I don't know what that is.
Hold on a second. That's probably, is that like a, probably
Humming
me.
noise.
It's New York. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
No, so look, Joe, you can front over here, but I know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm part of the conversations about will we buy this pay-per-view, will we not? And then the ultimate hour comes and we both fork in the money and we buy the shit. I'm going to be buying this pay-per-view for the entertainment value. I think that the pre-fight shenanigans, so to speak, are going to be very entertaining. And here's the thing with Tommy Fury. I'm not impressed. I don't like it when people benefit off of their names and the credibility and experience of people that they're related to. Look, nepotism is an unfortunate reality. That doesn't mean I have to like it. The fact is, nobody would give a fuck about who Tommy Fury is or who he is beating or who he might be if he wasn't Tyson Fury's little brother. That's the case. And look, I'm not impressed. I have never been impressed by Tommy Fury. I don't have anything against him personally, but I don't think that his fight should be televised on television. They're boring as hell. He faces guys with like terrible losing records, doesn't really knock them out or look that spectacular against them. His last fight was against an MMA guy, very undersized. It's like at the press conference in the weigh-in, they're like face to face, but it's more like, you know, chest to face. he's so much bigger than the guy, and then he doesn't really do much against them. In fact, it went the distance. And by the way, the guy had a losing record. Jake Paul has only fought one guy that has not had a losing record, and one of the guys he fought, he had like over 100 losses. Like a handful of wins. The idea that
so let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah.
You think the fight? You don't like the fight. You're probably not going to watch it.
No, I want to watch it because I want to see Jake Paul get a KO. That's why I'm watching.
So you think Jake Paul's gonna beat him?
And I want to see Tommy Fury have to change his name to, what is it? Tommy Fumbles is, I think, the bet.
Oh, okay.
Look, it's entertaining. It's boxing entertainment. You know, they're calling the WWF the WWE, and they just made it like over the top obvious that this is you know, entertainment. This is. Go ahead, D.
I'm going to be very brief. Maestro said that shit with a straight face. Oh, he only fought one guy with a losing record. I mean, because he fought a basketball player that never fought before. Because he fought a fucking gamer that never fought before. Because he fought dudes that never fought. So I guess if somebody fights me, he's fighting D-Style. You know, D-Style's never lost before. You know what I mean? Oh, it's my turn, Maestro. It's my. We just heard your brand. It's my turn to talk. So check it out.
That's not
right? You said that with a straight face. You're
I'll let you rebuttal. After. Let him go.
Not like Jake. I mean, you know, who's fought only one guy with a losing record. Like, well, a basketball player, a gamer, a UFC fighter that never boxed before, who, by the way, was coming off like 5 straight losses or some shit. Okay, like a wrestler that never boxed in his life, right? That's what Jake Paul's fighting.
Yes.
Like that's not impressive to me.
No,
like,
it's not impressive. But
shouting out, you don't get to respond. But shouting out that he's the only fun. I mean, like Jake Paul's doing it the right way, not like Tommy Fury. You know what he's doing? He's fighting guys that have no losses. Jesus Christ, that's all I need to say. I don't give a fuck about this fight.
Of course, you're going to have no losses if you've never fought before.
I was just about to say it's their first fight. It's their first fight.
I don't care about this fight.
I don't have any losses either. But he can beat me too. I don't have any losses.
All right, so
go ahead, buddy.
Respond, but really quick. We got other people to go.
Yeah, we got to get Calix.
It's going to be very quick. What I was saying was that Jake Paul is being presented. Tommy Fury is being presented as the quote unquote real boxer. To me, that is the bigger joke than Jake Paul. Everybody knows that Jake Paul, that he's not a real boxer. My issue is that Tommy Fury, off the name of his brother, is masquerading as a real boxer.
So did Jake! Jake became famous off his brother! But anyway, that's what.
Yeah, we're going around. Wait a minute. We're going around in circles.
I'm sorry.
I want to welcome Calix Boxing, and before I go to him,
I apologize.
Before I go to him, I want to just say congratulations on your pick. He picked the over 9.5, which was probably one of the most highly unlikely picks. I didn't hear anyone. I heard a lot of people taking the under.
Cheddar. He's got that
I did not hear a lot of people taking the over. And the over was the best play in terms of the odds, right? You got I think you may have gotten a plus 105 if I'm not mistaken. And also, you had this fight on the money. You said this fight would be competitive early and Canelo would take over late. You were right the whole way with this fight, and I just want to congratulate you on that. And I want to just ask you briefly, because you weren't on for this first question of the show.
Yeah, Cal got serenaded and everything on his way.
Yeah, do you think that that Plant overachieved in this fight? Do you think he proved he belonged in the ring with Canelo? I think I may suspect what you're going to say, but go ahead.
It was on par with what I expect. I guess I expect a little more than the rest of these people, the people on this panel, out of Plant. But I mean, what I expect from Plant going forward, being a PBC fighter, is one fight in 2022, and then that's why I didn't want to see him pull off the upset. Is I want to see Canelo continue to roll and be the face of boxing And Caleb Plant, although competitive in a 10-round must system sort of way early in the fight, you never got the feeling that this guy was gonna. You never got the feeling that Canelo was ever in a threat of losing the fight, right?
Yeah.
So, although Caleb was doing a good job of picking off shots. I mean, Canelo was not landing much as far as power shots early, but he was landing them on the arms. He was making Caleb Plant work, and you just knew where that was going to go. And guess what happened? What we expected to happen. Canelo took away the greatest asset of Caleb Plant, which is what Canelo does to all of his opponents in the middle rounds. And when Caleb Plant's jab went away, when Canelo took it away from him, Caleb Plant had nothing left, and it became all Canelo, and it was a Canelo late stoppage. I just thought that Caleb Plant was going to have success with the jab a little longer than people expected early, and then his chin was a little better than people expected, and mental fortitude was better than a Billy Joe Saunders, and that's why he would last a little longer. But did I ever expect Caleb Plant to win this fight, or was it ever a threat? No. Canelo rolled again, and that's what Canelo does. What a great fighter.
Yeah. All right, so the next question. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul, all set for December 18th. Is this Jake Paul's first quote-unquote real fight? Are you interested in this fight? Are you intrigued by it at all? And are you going to buy it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to continue my streak of not buying these sideshow events. I just don't have any interest. I didn't know who Jake Paul and Logan Paul were before this, and I'm not at all interested. And I saw Logan Paul out at a nightclub and sucker punched some guy. And it's just, I'm not interested in these guys at all. They're just not, they don't do it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it. It does nothing for me. Now, you did ask a question before this, though. I know you all touched on Gabe Rosado versus. I love that fight. I love the fight Munguia versus Rosado. Yeah. Rosado is the perfect gatekeeper opponent. He's not great at anything, but he's good at everything. He's not bad at anything. He's going to make you work. If you don't show up, or if you're one of these guys coming up that is not what they're saying of you, then guess what? He's going to sniff you out, and he's going to make it a tough thing. The problem with Rosado is Bek the Bully was very wide. Bek the Bully was lighting him up early in the fight, but he was very wide. And Rosado saw that coming from a mile away, and we found out that Bek the Bully has no chin. Munguia has a chin. Munguia is a little tighter with his shots. Munguia is a pressure fighter. This is at a different weight. And Rosado's skin cuts so easy. So I expect it to be one of those type of fights. It's going to be fun, entertaining. Rosado is going to have his moments in this fight, but once that skin starts to cut up, Munguia is going to cut up his skin. I think it's going to be one of those types of fights where it gets stopped by the referee or the ringside doctor late in the fight.
Okay. All right, Sutter Kane, what are your thoughts on Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury?
Us talking about this is a disgrace to everything we just talked about before this. Like literally, it's stuff. Fucking Tommy. If Tommy Fury loses to Jake Paul, I mean, no, I'm just gonna skip this one. You can go G Funky. This is a fucking disgrace. This is beyond disgrace.
See, I know that you're not a big fan of these types of spectacles either, but go ahead.
I don't care for Jake Paul or who he fights. I'm not going to support this madness
either, bro.
This is the guy that fight for Nate Robinson, right? That's the brother.
Yeah.
I'll have to say, I want to say this: the most. Shout out to everyone in the chat calling him, because he's the unknown brother of Tyson Fury, calling him Fredo Fury.
Fredo Fury.
Take him to Lake Tahoe and whack him.
He's not even allowed in the camp. Like, I've never seen him in Pierce camps.
Shout out to The Godfather, one of the greatest gangster flicks of all time, man. That's all I gotta say.
I could debate that though. Yo, Fredo Fury. That's crazy.
Dave? Are they going to get your hard-earned money for this event? Is this a real fight?
You know what's interesting is that I recently did a 2-hour live stream with Jalen Love back during the Tyson Fury fight. And so I've kept in contact with him. And Jalen Love, I'm more interested in Jalen's story, leaving the sport of boxing and finding himself in this unique position as one of Jake Paul's head trainers, right? So they're going to have an easy time selling this fight with casual fans and international fans. And I'm going to tell you why. One, they're going to try to attract casual fans by pushing the story that you guys mentioned it. They mentioned it that Sugar Hill Stewart is training Tommy Fury. And that happens to be Jay Leon Love's very first trainer that brought him into the professional ranks. So you got this student master teacher thing in opposite corners. Second of all, as he pointed out to me, is the reality star aspect that Tommy Fury brings to the fight. Now, you guys are all familiar with Jersey Shore and DJ Pauly D. The way they described it to me is him winning Love Island, the UK version, is tantamount to Pauly D have already been an established star in Las Vegas. And by the way, he's also a superstar boxer. So you know they're going to put seats and they're going to get a lot of UK buys in this fight. Will I pay for it? I hear you guys giggling. Will I pay for it? No. Hell no.
But I'll watch it. But
I'll watch it. I'll watch this fight.
I don't even think the casual fan knows who the hell Sugar Stewart is. I don't think they even know that.
Maybe not. But
really quick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There is something else that is bothering me about this. I'm going to get it off my chest now. There's a level of hypocrisy over at Showtime Sports. And Raleigh Romero got himself in deep, right? We were going to see him fight Gervonta Tank Davis, and the sexual assault allegations came forward. But Jake Paul has 2 legitimate sexual assault allegations against him, and it's done nothing. It has done nothing to stop his contract over at Showtime Sports as a pay-per-view star.
Wow. I didn't know this. Can I ask a question to the panel, Joe, real quick?
Well, really quick, because I know you want to promote this event, but before you do, right?
I want to promote the event.
I just want to say this really quick, okay? Make no mistake about it. I do believe Fury will win this fight. Really? I hate calling him Fury because, I don't know, but Tommy will win this fight, okay? Because look, man, all he's got to do is spar his brother every day, and there's literally nothing Jake Paul's gonna be able to do in the ring, okay? To equate anything his brother doing half-ass in the ring could bring, right? But I will say this though.
That's a good point.
Even if he beats Jake Paul, I still don't think Tommy's going to go anywhere. I just don't. As soon as, even if he beats Jake Paul, the moment he steps up, he's done. I'll just say that.
Tommy Fury's the half brother of Tyson Fury.
I was waiting for D-Style because I
go ahead. Go ahead, Maestro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I want people that legitimately, this is a serious question. What defines what is a real fight and what isn't a real fight?
This shit ain't.
I guess it's subjective, right?
What makes it a real fight? Let me ask you this, Stutter. Can you name any of Sergio Martinez's first 15 opponents?
First of all, Sergio Martinez is my favorite fighter, hands down. Cannot name his first 15 opponents. I cannot name his first 15, but I can tell you this much: the motherfucker can fight. These two fuckers can't fucking fight.
Hold up.
Okay, I'm just saying. That's straight up.
Yo, Maestro goes in on Canelo-Plant.
That Maestro finishes his point.
You know what I mean?
That Maestro finishes his point.
No, go ahead, Maestro.
My bad.
That was a clear swerve of my question, by the way.
Well, that's what Donald Trump does.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, Maestro. I can't name his first.
He is also one of my favorite fighters, but he is also someone who started his career late. He was a cyclist in his youth. He was a soccer player in his youth. He started fighting in his 20s. So if all of you guys are saying, oh, well, Jake Paul's not a real fighter because he used to be on YouTube, and I'm not done yet. The fact is, I think it was in Sergio Martinez. I'm not counting it here, but it was over 10 fights. 13, maybe 14. He fought people with pretty bad records. I mean, he's fighting guys here that are 27-25, okay, that are 6-2, that are 25-15, that are 15-18. I could go on and on. He fought a guy that was 9-12 in Spain, a guy that was 9-14. Were those real fights? I mean,
first of all,
hold up.
I'll let you finish.
I know I asked the question, but what I'm going to say is this. Part of boxing, anyone who's going to be intellectually honest about this knows that at the beginning of people's careers, and sometimes it gets stretched out pretty long, people face guys that have pretty bad records. So look, all I'm saying is, yes, it's a real fight. It's a real fight. It's two professional fighters fighting each other. Do they both have great records? No, but that's not why people are tuning in. They're tuning in because they're quote unquote celebrities, and that's all it really is. Go ahead.
Okay, check this out. How much does Showtime pay you? Like, that's what I want. How much does show? Because this is some bullshit. You put Sergio Martinez and Jake Paul in the same sentence. Somebody block him right now. Somebody push the mute button on him right. You put Jake Paul, fucking Jake Paul, and Sergio. Dude, Sergio to me is one of the illest fighters ever. That's like you putting Chavez Sr. and Jake Paul in the same fucking conversation. Yes, it is. Bro, Jake Paul, boom. The nigga was on Disney Channel. Okay, he's a fucking bum. He's a fucking bum.
So you were just shredding
Fury. Tyson. I'm sorry. Tommy Fury is the half brother. That means that he was a side nut. He wasn't even the main nut. You get what I'm trying to say? He's a half brother.
They got the same daddies. They got the
this
same
is some
daddies.
bullshit.
They got the same daddy.
Yeah, but the chick was probably a side chick.
That matters. That matters.
Your joke is landing with some, probably not with others.
No, bro, it's the truth. Jake Paul, Maestro. Come on, man. I'm respecting you, bro, but Jake Paul.
You're not respecting me. But by the way, that's fine because it's a debate show, and I disrespect niggas all the time. So here's the thing,
my nigga. You just picked Jake Paul. I don't know, bro. Now it's questionable.
No, here's what I'm saying.
I think he's making a comparison. I don't think he's saying.
No, I know you're not picking him to win, but
like
why are we even talking about this?
If me and you like have the same color shirt on, like we both have black shirts.
No, I know what Maestro's saying. No, don't get me wrong. I know what Maestro's saying. No, I know what Maestro's saying, but the whole point is that to me, this is a bullshit fight. It's not. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it's not a bullshit fight. The question is, right, absolutely. It is a bullshit fight. I know it's a bullshit fight. That wasn't the question. The question is whether it was a real fight. It's a real fight. And again, you can look at Sergio Martinez's record in retrospect and be like, yeah, he's a great fighter. I think he's a great fighter too. But if you look at the beginning of his career, again, a guy who started boxing late, and you look up and down his record, I mean, by the standards that you're laying out right now, none of those were real fights. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right,
I'm just waiting for Maestro to say only in America.
Let me make a quick point. Let me make my quick point, and I'll end it here. The reason why this is a real fight, and I'll explain to you why it's a real fight, because he fought all MMA guys and he fought gamers before. This guy is a legitimate boxer. Now you can make the argument that it's not a good fight, but it's a legitimate fight because he's fighting a registered boxer with 7 pro fights, whereas before he didn't. So this is an eensy beensy step up from what he was fighting before. I'm not saying it's a giant step up, but it's an eensy beensy step up. And I understand people who say this is not their thing because it's not a lot of people's thing.
This is celebrity boxing.
It is what it is. All right, let's move on. So everybody.
By the way, Tyson Fury said he will strip his brother of his last name if he loses.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
All right. Let's just transition to the next.
He fucked the maid, and that's how Tommy Fury came about.
This is too much. All right. So everybody knows that Virgil Ortiz. Everybody knows.
It's the truth, bro. Who the fuck even knew who he was?
Hey, Tyson loves his brother, right? He loves his brother.
Let's get it together, guys. All right.
Tyson became religious, so of course he loves his brother.
Everybody knows that everybody knows by now that Vergil Ortiz and Robert Garcia have split, and Robert Garcia went on video on his YouTube channel and he explained that Vergil Ortiz wasn't happy that he went with Joshua Franco instead of him when they were both had fights on August 14th. So I can kind of understand where Virgil was coming from. He felt like, although he was a little bit slighted there. And Robert Garcia does have a big stable, so it's hard sometimes when you're with a trainer that has a lot of fighters. You may feel as a fighter that you're not getting enough attention from that trainer. So do you guys think that it was a good move for him to leave Robert Garcia? Do you think he overreacted in that situation? And who do you think should be his new trainer moving forward? I'm going to start with you, Calix.
I can't speak on it because I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes, but I do think it's funny that, and I tagged you in it on Twitter, right, Beeb, that Coppinger jumped the gun on another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at that right now.
Coppinger just seems to not, he just does not get it right. And the funny thing about that is he's burning bridges because you got to gain the trust of the fighters if you want to continue to get scoops. And obviously, Virgil Ortiz was not happy with that. But I can't speak about what happened in the gym or whether Robert Garcia is making the right decision by going with the other fighter on the same night. Maybe he's been with that fighter for longer. Maybe he's showing loyalty. But I think it's a good move for Virgil Ortiz. And, who he should go with, I'm not sure. I mean, he can't go wrong going into Canelo's camp, right? I mean, they seem to have the hot hand right now, and that's what Coppinger is saying is going to happen. But Virgil Ortiz, his dad, they seem to know what they need to do, and I'm certainly not going to question him. But he's had a trainer change in the past as well. So far, so good with him. I'm just going to keep trusting him.
Okay.
That's not a bad pick though, Eddie Reynoso.
G Funky, what do you think of this whole situation with Virgil Ortiz and Robert Garcia? Do you think Virgil Ortiz is kind of overreacting, but what Robert Garcia did? And do you think the split is a good move? And who do you think is going to train him moving forward?
No, I don't think it was an overreaction by Virgil. He feels like he's got a shot to be a superstar in the making in boxing, and I'm right there. I think he can definitely be a superstar if he continues to grow and develop the way that he's going, along with a few other fighters. So if your head trainer, has too many other fighters and, he can't be at your fight, then, I feel like he's doing the best thing for his career. Not that I don't think that Garcia is a bad trainer. I think Garcia is one of the best trainers in the game right now. But again, he's looking out for himself. He's saying, hey, look, like I said, I got a shot to be somebody possibly here in the real near future. So I need someone who's going to be locked in with me all the time. So I don't think it was an overreaction. Honestly, I don't feel like there was any malicious intent, I should say, with Robert Garcia not being at his last fight. It was a big fight for Virgil. It was a big fight for Franco as well. So, it was a tough decision, and he made his decision. As far as who he's going to go with, as good as the Reynoso move sounds, I don't think that's where he's going to go. And the reason why I don't think so is because he's probably going to run into the same problem there. There's a lot of fighters there as well. So if he's looking for more one-on-one with his head trainer and stuff like that, I don't think Reynoso is the way to go. Although if he goes there, then he goes there. That's his decision. I'm not quite sure, man. I've really thought long and hard about it. I just don't know who he could possibly go with right now. But I'm very interested to see where he goes because I want to see him, continue to build because I think he can be the future in a couple of years.
Okay. Shout out to the Boxing Republic. Thank you so much for the $9 super chat. Nancy, thank you so much. Always great to see you in the chat. All right. Dave, what do you think of this move, brother?
Yeah, I talked about this on Monday night with Sonteo Media, who's very friendly with the Robert Garcia camp. I don't think Mike Coppinger is doing a good service right now over at ESPN. Maybe I missed Dan Rafael, who threw some heavy shots at him on Twitter on Saturday night over that. Really, this story is Virgil Ortiz's the break, and a lot of people have pointed out with the power of media and YouTube and how well Robert Garcia himself uses his own YouTube channel to make announcements that maybe fighters should start considering breaking their own stories. I don't know if Eddie Reynoso is a good pick because, like G Funky pointed out, even though it's a small camp, a lot of their fighters are fighting and where their actual fight dates might step on each other, or he may not get the sparring he's looking for there. He's got some defensive holes, and the pathway to being a champion at 147 for him, it looks like it's going to go straight to Terrence Crawford. So he needs to clean up all these tiny little holes. And it's going to have to be a coach that's going to be able to give him special attention and correct these defensive flaws. I think he's definitely going to be a world champion eventually, but he definitely needs to get someone who's going to cater to him. And I don't even think Freddie Roach is as busy as the wild card gym is. I don't know where it's going to be. Eddie Reynoso may be a good pick, and it may turn out to be a bad pick as well. Like someone mentioned, this is now the second time he started off with Yoel Diaz. He could just be one of these fighters that bounces around from training camp to training camp. I don't know. Hopefully he picks the right camp because I see him as a future world champion.
Okay. No. D-Star, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, look, first of all, and I briefly talked to you about this on the phone, and look, sometimes breakups are mutual, and it's nothing personal, and it's just a situational thing, and I think that's what it is here, right? Like, I don't think it's not like Robert Garcia did something bad to Virgil. He had two big fights that weekend on the same time in two different parts of the country. You know, he had a fighter, fighting one of the Maloneys for a world title, defending the title, right? And then Virgil, and I think him not being there with Virgil, to me, was a sign of him having faith in Virgil, like knowing Virgil's got this, right? And he sent his father and his son there to be with him, right? So that's what I got out of it. And I do find it strange that it would take this long, though. It's not like, I'm sure they knew ahead of time he wasn't going to be there. I'm sure they obviously knew afterwards. So why so long? Like, I don't think it was a matter of like, oh, you weren't there for me, so I'm going to leave. No, I just think it's like one of those situations where it's like, you know what? Hey, Robert, I think we have a great relationship. It was great training with you, and I appreciate everything you've done for me. But, I'm not going to ask you to give up what you got, which is an enterprise. I mean, he's got a whole gym full of fighters, young up-and-comers, contenders. He's got a business pretty much. And he's not going to ask him. He's not going to be like, hey, I want you to give all that up to just train me. Like, that wouldn't be fair. And I can't speak for them, but I think one of the reasons they told Coppinger, look, man, like, no, we're not going with Reynoso. Like, just stay out of this. Like, what we say, my dad or me will let you know what I'm going to do next, right? I just think it was a mutual kind of situation where Virgil wants more specific attention, right? And Robert can't give him that. And I don't think there's any beef. I don't think there's any like hard feelings at all. They might work together in the future, but I just think it's one of those situations where it's better for both sides to move on. I just think that's what it is. You know what I mean? Virgil's not going to ask him to give up everything he's doing just to give him special attention, and vice versa. And I just think that's what it is, to be honest. And it is better for both sides for them to move on.
Gotcha. Maestro, do you think this is a good move, and you think Virgil Ortiz may be overreacting here, or do you think he's spot on with his decision?
Well, first of all, look, it's up to the fighter what he's going to do with his career, and it's kind of ironic considering that Mikey Garcia's career decisions have been some of the most scrutinized of the past years, and he's coming out of that camp. He's trained by his older brother, right? But it also reminds me about the experience of another member of that camp in Ramirez, right? He used to be trained by Freddie Roach, and the reason he left Freddie was because at that time Freddie's priority was Manny Pacquiao and a bunch of other fighters, and he felt he needed more one-on-one attention. So he ended up going to the Garcia Academy, and to D-Style's point, it's like a full-fledged academy at this point. That's why he went over there. Now, at this point in his career, he probably feels he needs something different. I think it's probably more than just one-on-one attention. I think maybe he feels he wants to learn something different. My choice for him, believe it or not, would be an Ismael Salas, because I think he needs some more refining to his game. I think he's going to need that as he tries to take on the upper echelon of the 47-pound division, the welterweight division. Maybe he thinks he's reached his peak with Garcia. That's something that's innate. That's something that the boxer is going to feel that you or me or anyone on this panel is not going to fully recognize. So look, he's taken the reins of his career. He's decided to make a move. To D-Style's point, I believe it was probably mutual. All right, they're kind of going in different directions, and it is what it is. And to Dave's point, yeah, I mean, I don't know, when did ESPN become like the TMZ of boxing? Why is this an ESPN level? I mean, I guess that's what they are now, right? I mean, when you look at the NBA and other sports they cover, it's like the rumor mill. I don't know. I'm from an era where I think that maybe boxing journalism should be something a little bit more than that, but apparently it's not, and they're comfortable with that, and that's the direction they're going, and maybe that's what their algorithm tells them is necessary to pick up the number of clicks in order to appease advertisers. Who knows? But I'm with Dave on that one as well.
Maestro, I just want to say I brought up Salas on my show on Monday. I think that's an excellent choice for defense, but somebody pointed out to me it may complicate things down the line should he try to go for a WBA title fight with Ugas. But I think that's an excellent pick as well.
Shout out to Boxing Republic once again. She says, shout out to HCP and shout out to you, Nancy, in the chat. Thank you so much. Sutter Kane, what are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you've been following this.
No, I've been following it. I put it this way, man. If he's going to leave Garcia, I still think Eddie Reynoso is a really good pick, even if it's for like 1 or 2 fights, just to get him, like we were talking about the Terrence Crawford, the 147. If he's going down that road, man, a guy like Eddie Reynoso for 1 or 2 fights ain't bad. Like, you feel what I'm saying? And boxers I've noticed do have that I need attention for certain things. And it could be like the slightest thing. And as soon as they don't get that one thing they don't want, it's like, you know, they might hold it in that one fight, hold it in the second fight, and all of a sudden just slowly starts to go that route. But if he is going to leave Garcia, I still say Eddie Reynoso is he's the it man right now. So if he's going to get that vibe and that energy, that's the camp to go to and stuff. Yo, even if it's like I said, 1 or 2 fights, man, if you get him for maybe 1 fight and a fight with Crawford or something of that nature, man, that's the guy I would go for. Because I always thought Garcia had really good game plans. Like, his game plans are really damn good. Eddie Reynoso, man, ain't no joke either. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, he's starting to become that guy now. Like, he's no joke. So, you know, if he's going to leave Garcia, I say go straight to Reynoso. Don't, you know, just plan maybe 1 or 2 fights and then take it from there and see what goes. But at least you got somebody who's on that Garcia level that can get him, you know, with that Terrence Crawford fight or even the Spence fight or some of that nature, because he's going to need somebody.
Really quick. I get what you're saying. The only problem is most of Reynoso's fighters seem to have a very hard time adapting to his style and his game plans in the first 2-3 fights. So I'm not sure. Like, either with Reynoso, either you go in all the way, like in the long haul, or I think there's other trainers that are better in terms of the short term, right? Like,
you think Freddie Roach?
Guys that, yeah. Like, even if Freddie Roach, in fairness, is good in the short term.
Yeah.
So that I don't know if Reynoso is the right choice if it's just short term now.
I'll put it this way, Ortiz, real quick. Ortiz Jr. is a really offensive fighter, so he's going to need somebody who's going to not change his shit up to where he's this defensive master. Like, he's going to need somebody who has to, like, and that's like a Freddie Roach or you know, like, he needs somebody who's going to say, you know, fuck it, like this. Like, this is who you are. Just go. Like, Sutter, you know what I'm saying? I
was just gonna say that.
Sutter. I was also gonna say.
I keep hearing people in the chat and people, people here on the panel saying defense. Like,
that's not his style.
You guys want this to be? You guys want Virgil to be Sweet Pea Whitaker or what? Like, I don't understand.
Well,
like,
see Virgil doing the shoulder roll.
Let Calix get in real quick.
No, but his offense is his defense, right? He's a pressure type fighter. So I don't think you mess with that. And I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that doesn't get hit. And I don't think he gets hit too much. I just think that's his style. Thank you. I don't think you tweak that too much. And I think he's ready right now to step up, to be honest. I think he is who he is. I'm not saying he beats up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying he beats a Crawford. I'm not saying he beats even a Boots Ennis. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's as ready as he's going to be. Step him up. Let's do this. And he's a guy who's always going to be hit. He's always going to be hit. That's his style.
Everybody gets hit.
I haven't been looking at the chat, so I don't know what the defensive statements are. Maybe I'm thinking this because people equate Cubans with defense. But
no. I'm seeing it in the chat, Maestro.
Okay, Ismael Salas trains Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. Ismael Salas trains Kazuto Ioka. These are guys that get knockouts. Right. These are offensive guys, but they're also guys that he's kind of refined from a skill set they have and enhanced it. So that's why I'm
not against that pick.
No, it's not. It's not you. There's a narrative. Yeah. There is a narrative going on.
There's a narrative out there that the guy gets hit too much. Like
the dudes are acting
or something. You know, like
they're acting like the guy's a brute. Like, he just gets hit left and right. It's just not true, guys. It's not. No. I'm sorry.
Well,
yes, Mean Machine hit him. Mean Machine. He was hitting fucking Crawford as well. Okay,
Yeah.
He knocked
he's
down
gonna
Crawford.
get hit.
What?
That's his
Did
style,
they
but
miss
that's
that?
what makes him dangerous, right?
Well, I got
Makes
Freddie
him
Roach
Virgil
in if that's the case.
Ortiz.
Yeah.
He puts pressure, volume. He throws hard shots. Like, you're gonna get hit doing that. Like, this is boxing, guys. This ain't the fucking ballet. Okay, let's stop that shit.
This is
Well,
this is my take on the situation. D-Style makes a good point. Why did it take so long for them to make the change? If there was an issue, why didn't they address it right away? And in my opinion, I'm thinking maybe his dad got in his ear, and I'm thinking this is more so from his dad. In my opinion, it's just my opinion because according to Robert, him and his dad went to meet with Robert, and his dad was the one that was doing all the talking, and his son was just sitting there listening, right? I think his dad was probably disappointed in the situation more so than Virgil himself was. And I can understand, the situation from Garcia's standpoint, and even from, Virgil Sr.'s standpoint. Obviously, they're thinking that Ortiz has more upside. He has more potential. He can be the bigger earner, and he could, he's in the more glamour division, right? And Robert Garcia is thinking, well, you know what? Franco's actually in a title fight, and he fought Maloney a few times, and we had some issues with controversy. I'm more needed in this corner. I totally understand that, and I agree with him. I think he was more needed in that corner for that particular fight. But at the end of the day, fighters have egos, and I just think that the egos got in the way. I'm going to say a name that probably no one would ever think of. I think Joe Goosen would be an awesome trainer.
I think Joe Goosen's kind of bad luck, bro.
No, I
feel what you're saying, but Joe Goosen, if you notice his style, if you notice Joe Goosen, a lot of fighters go to him when they're on their way out. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Not really coming in.
He does there's a young kid, Vitor Milnecki.
Okay.
He does good with young kids. He's a good nurturer type guy.
Didn't he train Corrales against Castillo of memory?
Yeah, he trained
him
Michael
for a few
Nunn.
years, quite a few years. Yeah.
Come on, recently.
Michael Nunn
No,
back.
I get that, but
the reason why he's a good name, in my opinion, because he is an offensive guy. He's a guy that teaches, the basics, set up your shots, throw combinations, and he'll get on a guy and tell him, you gotta be more offensive. You got to be more aggressive here. So he's not that guy that's going to be overly defensive. And again, like I said, he has experience taking young kids. He took the Ruelas brothers when they were young boys and made them into champions. So that's why I think he would be a good fit. And he doesn't have a ton of fighters, so he could make time for Ortiz, in my opinion. Yeah. So that's just a name to
I still think Freddie Roach though too, man.
Freddie Roach. I don't think
Freddie Roach and Ortiz would be really good 2 or 3 fights.
But once again, Freddie's got a ton of fighters, and I think he's kind of slowing down in his old age. I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of it's open. Everyone's got their opinion, I guess.
What about Teddy Atlas?
No, please, Alex, please.
Nah, bro. We said the fires. We're fires. We got the fire. We're firemen. We put out fires.
Shout out to Alexis LL for the $2 super chat. She says HCP love. Thank you so much. All right, last topic of the night. Everyone's talking about Anthony Joshua and this trainer search, right? Supposedly, according to Eddie Hearn, he's going to be coming back to the U.S. and doing a second trial run with all these trainers.
It's like a reality show.
Yeah, Mike Tyson was at the fight, and he met up with Eddie Hearn, and Eli Seckback was there. Yeah, and Eli Seckback's like, oh, well, Eddie, what do you think of Mike helping out Anthony Joshua and training him? And Mike Tyson be like, oh, that's an honor, he said. And then Eddie said, yeah, I like that idea. I'm not so sure how much Mike Tyson could help Anthony Joshua, but what are your thoughts on this whole trainer search for Anthony Joshua? The clock is ticking. They're talking about having that rematch in March or April, and he's got to get, with the new trainer soon, because if you're going to start with a new trainer, you're going to need more time to get acclimated to that trainer, and you're probably going to have to start camp a little bit earlier. So what are your thoughts on the whole Mike Tyson thing? Another name thrown in the hat. And do you think that they got to stop moving on this situation here? What are your thoughts, Sutter?
I think it's a marketing thing, bro, to be honest with you. I think it's more marketing than anything to try to like put the whole thing around Anthony Joshua, because this shit is turning into a reality show, bro. Like, the guy's been boxing for a long time, man. I mean, he should be able to pick somebody by now. So now either he's picked somebody and he's just not saying it, or they're marketing the shit out of it. So this way, when the fight does come around, it's like, oh my gosh, like, how's he gonna do with the new trainer? Like, that's what it sounds like to me, man. Because it's like, he can't be that naive to like say, okay, you know what? I don't know who my trainer is yet, man. He's got to know time is ticking. And you know what I'm saying? And like I said, the last fight, I mean, he kind of got the shit beat out of him. So it's like, he got to figure it out by now, man. I don't know what else to say. And as far as Eli Seckback, man, that guy's weird, bro. I'm sorry. Hey, man, what frozen yogurt do you eat when you go home? like, bro, he is so like, yeah, but before a weigh-in, like, do you wear a red shirt or a blue shirt? Like, what is your favorite Big Mac? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I can't get with that dude, bro.
He's irritating, bro.
Yeah, he's annoying. He's a fucking annoying. But it's
Mike,
back to the subject in hand. Yeah. Oh, I saw that, bro. Yeah, man. All I saw him doing was running. The guy was running. Like, yeah, bro, I don't know. But as far as the Anthony Joshua situation, I think it's marketing, man. I hope he's got somebody. If it's not marketing and this shit is really true, he doesn't have anybody yet, then I don't know what to say, man. That shit is just weird. You know what I'm saying? I can see Mike giving him some steps, but not being a trainer. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about all that and stuff. I thought he had to do from Texas already. I thought that was set in stone. Right, but I guess not. So I don't know. To me, it sounds like marketing, though.
Dave, go ahead, D-Style. You wanna go?
Oh, go ahead.
All right, Boxing Days, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Always keeping it 100. Thank you so much. All right, Dave, what are your thoughts on this?
That's a marketing ploy. I agree with Sutter Kane on that one, because Mike Tyson has got so many endeavors going on, from this marijuana business to one of the biggest hit podcasts in the nation. He doesn't have time to commit to that. Saying. I mean, it basically was politely saying, yeah, I drop in for that, drop in here and there and give him some advice. But I think you guys pointed out someone that I didn't give much thought to last week and the week before, and that's Joe Goosen. What about him? I didn't give him any thought that maybe that would be a good fit. But he needs to make a choice fast, because he's got a lot of work if he's going to win this rematch.
Somebody in the chat said Eli Seckback seemed like he's on Molly's. That shit is funny.
That was a great impression. More Eli Seckback, please.
Yo, for real, yo. So what type of Molly do you take before you get with that girl? Like, do you take a blue, a yellow? Like, his questions be so fucking weird.
They're horrible.
It's so fucking weird, man.
Oh my God. Calix, the clock is ticking. What do you think Anthony Joshua should do here?
The fight, from what I'm hearing, is going to be, the rematch will be in March. I know D-Style will want Anthony Joshua, to get another rematch clause, unfortunately, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah, man, whoever he goes with, it's not going to be enough time. It's just not going to be. So
I agree.
Whether he picks the guy this week, whether he picks him a month from now, he's not going to have enough time in between the initial fight and the rematch to refine anything. And it's just not going to matter. And then after the fight, he might be talking about going with another trainer. So Usyk is going to do whatever Usyk wants to do with him in this rematch. And the funny thing is, I heard Usyk, somebody asked Usyk, what do you think about, have you seen Anthony Joshua going on a trainer tour? And what do you think about that? And he's like, he just said, I saw it. Good for him. Stuff like that. It's not going to matter at all. It doesn't matter to Usyk. It's not going to mess with his psyche. So whoever he goes with, it's not going to matter. But I do expect an announcement pretty soon.
That's say one more thing. Does this not remind y'all of the Pacquiao killer instinct? Like, now we got the Anthony Joshua killer instinct. Like, does this not seem like it's
very
playing the two here? It's very similar. It's
similar.
Like the kill, like he's in search for. It's like it's a reality show. Like, he's in search for the killer instinct. It's like, bruh, are you going? Either you got it, or you fucking don't got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're making a marketing.
He's not in search for that, and I'll tell you why I say that, Sutter. He gave an interview with Coogan. It was an extensive interview. It was the first interview he actually gave coming off of the loss to Usyk. I'm sure you guys have seen it, especially people in the chat. He essentially said he's not going to be that Joshua again. He said if he was that Joshua, he'd retire without any brain cells left. There used to be an Anthony Joshua that fought with, for lack of a better term, balls to the walls, who went for it, who would take one to give one, who would get hurt and then try to hurt the other guy worse. We saw that guy against Molina We saw that guy against Prince Charles Martin. We saw that guy against, obviously, the Dillian White fight. And we saw that guy for a while against Vladimir Klitschko. We stopped seeing that guy after that fight. That guy did not make an appearance against Takam. He did not make an appearance against Joseph Parker. Definitely not in that fight. He didn't make an appearance, definitely not in the rematch to Andy Ruiz. He briefly made an appearance in the Ruiz fight, and then he was reminded, whoa, I got my brain scrambled. I don't want to go back to that. That's why I stopped fighting that way. And we haven't seen it. We saw a guy who could have finished Pulev rather early and didn't go for it. And then we saw a guy who tried to outbox a guy who's much smaller than him, who everybody going into the fight knew was a better naturally skilled boxer in Usyk. I don't know if that's what he's going around to these gyms for. He's looking for some kind of a secret sauce that I'm not too sure really exists. From those that I respect a lot, people that are around camps in the UK. I'm talking about the Knowledge, Spencer Fearon. I'm talking about my brothers KG, the comedian, and Trav, also a comedian, who do a great show on Mondays called Monday Night Smoke out of London. He's the type of guy who essentially hires high-priced trainers to allow him to pretty much train himself and run him through, various scientific tests and connect them to various apparatuses and readings of various things. But the old school kind of guy that we saw fight Dillian White, that guy's gone. And I think that quote was very telling.
Yeah,
I believe that if he's gone, I think he should just retire, man, because his new style ain't working. And I know you gotta agree on that one, man. He's looking shitty, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a guy, like, don't get me wrong. I picked Usyk even before the fight, but there was times in that fight I'm like, man, if Joshua just fucking picks up and goes at him, he can stop this dude. But he just, if you ain't gonna do it, then you don't play with boxing, bro. If you ain't got it, then just get the fuck out the ring. Like, just retire. You're already rich as shit. You feel what I'm saying? Have a little going away fight, and that's a wrap, man. Because I just don't see what else he can do. Like, he can't really box like that. Like, he's more of a, I'm gonna knock your head off. And it's like, since he's changed, I agree with you. It's been different, man. It ain't been the same. So that's just my take on it.
D, go ahead. You shaking your head?
I mean, I've been waiting for Sutter and Maestro to finally agree on something, and when they finally agree, they agree on some trash opinion, like you know what I mean? It's crazy. But here's what I'll say though. Here's what I'll say. So, look, AJ is one of the best boxers at heavyweight. Name me really quick, Sutter. Name me 5 dudes that box better than him at heavyweight.
Deontay Wilder.
So he's one of the best boxers.
I'm just joking. And so who boxes at heavyweight right now? Shit, I got Usyk, Fury. Well, I would put Paul. Yeah,
names, brother. Let me help you out a little bit. You're out of names, brother. But check this out. To me, I will agree with this. Anthony Joshua is definitely searching for something, right? He's trying to find something. And I like the way Maestro put it, actually. Like, he's looking for that secret sauce, right? And then once he found out, well, Plant doesn't have it, so he can't go there, right? So like he's trying to find where the sauce is at. And he's trying to look for that secret. Like someone's going to give it to him. Like, oh, I know what he could do, right? I thought Ronnie Shields was a good choice, but
I thought so too.
Are you really that indecisive that you don't know if you're going to go to Ronnie Shields yet? What are you doing going around the country getting different pointers from different trainers anyway? That's just going to cause confusion.
Yeah.
A lot of trainers have different philosophies, they have different methodologies. You don't want to mix all that shit up together like that. You just don't, right? So he needs to figure out what he wants, and he needs to figure it out quick. I do think he should give an American trainer from an American perspective a shot, personally. Some people have suggested Ismael Salas. I know he has Joe Joyce, but hey, money talks, okay? And, of course, some people have said Reynoso, but I've already said this. I mean, I invite anybody to tell me the one fight that Reynoso had for one fight and they looked phenomenal in their first fight with him. It hasn't happened. For whatever reason, the methodology of Reynoso takes time. You don't just get it right away. It takes 3-4 fights to finally get it. Once you get it, it's great. But This is an obvious sign to me that he needs to retract his rematch clause. He needs to allow Undisputed to happen. He needs to go back to the drawing board and work his way back up and make sure that whoever he goes to next, he gives it time. Because Joshua, I got news for you, brother. Emmanuel Stewart is one of the best trainers that ever lived. Okay? Klitschko lost his first fight under Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah, Lamont Brewster.
Okay? He lost his first fight with Brewster, as was mentioned by Maestro. But he gave it time, right? He knew this is a great trainer. Look at what he did with Lennox Lewis. He gave it time, and after several fights, they got so dominant that they had G-Funky like pull out his hair fight after fight. But it was dominant and it was effective, right? He needs to, honest to God, he needs to retract. He needs to drop the rematch clause, and he needs to just start from scratch, man. I'm being 100% honest. This guy's not ready to rematch Usyk. You saw Usyk did you see the article where he's like, dude, I don't give a fuck what he's doing. I don't care what he goes to search. I don't care who he brings along. Okay, same Usyk's gonna show up, and you know what? I'll fight you in London. All right, he'll do it again. And
that's the thing is marketing.
It's a joke right now. Like he needs the right way to switch trainers. You need several fights. We said it to the Wilder fans when he switched trainer. We said it to many fighters before. You need to give it time. You can't jump right in there with Usyk in your first fight with a new trainer. So that's what I want to say about that. As far as Tyson, I love Tyson, but Tyson has no history training anybody in a professional boxing ring that I know of. Okay, I haven't like just because you're a great fighter does not make you a great teacher. Does not make you a great trainer. Okay, a lot of fighters were taught and they have attributes and natural talents that other people don't have, or they have different talents or different attributes, and they don't know how to articulate to other fighters what they can or cannot do. Right. So I don't know if Tyson would be a good. I don't even think Tyson should be giving AJ advice. You don't got the same body type. You don't got the same style. All you're gonna do is cause confusion to AJ. That's all you're gonna be doing, right? If you think AJ is gonna be doing the peekaboo defense all of a sudden, you got another thing coming. That ain't gonna work for him. So that's all I got to say about that.
But D-Cell, I
let G Funky go first, Maestro. Well, then you can follow up after. G, go ahead, G.
Yeah, I think this whole thing is very peculiar, man.
What did they
taking too long? He's running out of time. I really think that's good advice, D-Style, to drop the damn rematch clause. It's to the point now where you're just going to need to have more chemistry with a new trainer, especially if you think you're going to have a chance to beat Usyk. From what I saw in that fight, I mean, you figure him out quickly. He's going to have issues with him. I don't care who's training him. He's going to have issues with Usyk. Depending on who he gets, could possibly squeak out a win or so. Who knows? We'll see. But I think at this point, he's got to have a couple fights in between before he takes that one again. And look, I mean, if he wants to reach out to former fighters to be his trainer, I mean, look, Mike Tyson would be just all wrong for him. Like Tyson was small, like he fought like a small man. The way that he would get low and come up with uppercuts and hooks and things like that. Like, I don't see AJ doing that. I think if he wants to reach out to a former fighter to pull him out of retirement to come back to the gym to train him, maybe he should go after Lennox Lewis. I feel like Lennox Lewis would be a perfect style.
I agree with you.
To help AJ become something that he is trying to become. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I say, man. But he needs to hurry up and get on the ball if he's going to keep that rematch clause, because he's definitely run out of time. And the Reynoso thing, I agree with you, D-Style. It does take time. I remember a lot of you guys were poking fun at me when I said that Valdez was going to knock out Vergil, and he was looking bad against Adam Lopez and all those other guys. And then that third fight, boom, it just clicked, and it happened. So it does take time, man. So he's going to have to make up his mind real soon.
I think he already got a trainer, man. He just this ain't not saying it, man. I think it's marketing. I truly do, man. You can't be boxing that long in your life and have that much knowledge, and you know that there's a fight coming up. I really think, knowing how Eddie Hearn them work, I think this shit is marketing, bro, and stuff. Well, we'll see and stuff. But if it's not, yeah, you're right. You should drop that next fight, because if not, the outcome's gonna be worse.
I wanted to answer D-Style's question to you, sir.
Good.
because I actually agree with D-Style. Look, I think he beats pretty much every heavyweight in the world, other than the two guys that he's not going to beat for sure, and the one guy that he might not beat. The two guys that I don't think he'll beat for sure are Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. And the guy that I think he might not beat maybe is Andy Ruiz. Don't forget they're 1-1. All right. You're not going to beat a guy like Fury or like Usyk boxing like Mike Tyson. And I agree with you, G Funky. I was saying this years ago that he needed to work with Lennox Lewis, somebody out of that school. The problem was Lennox was a little bit critical, and these days, the boxers aren't as maybe thick-skinned as they used to be one day. Maybe I'm looking back in retrospect inaccurately, but he didn't like it, and he called Lennox Lewis a clown. And he's been asked to retract the statement multiple times, and he won't do it. So that ain't happening. So that I see him struggling against Fury and Usyk. And to D-Style's point, he needs to spend a few fights with lower level opposition. The problem with that is, to Eddie Hearn's point, is that he's a business now, and they need to sell pay-per-views and they need to sell stadium fights. And you're not going to do that against lower level opposition at this point, unfortunately.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts? Nah, man, I'll pass on this one. I got something else on my mind. I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
I'll take his go one more time.
All right.
I mean, if we had to throw it in the air, then, I mean, who do you think he should go to then? Like, I don't think nobody really said anything. Like, if you had to just pick one trainer, who is it? Nobody even knows.
I'll give you a name. It's the name that Vladimir Klitschko picked after the passing of Manuel Stewart. He went with.
That's funny you say that.
He went with Jonathan Banks, who comes out of that Kronk school, as does Sugar Hill. Obviously, Sugar Hill Stewart is taken by Tyson Fury. So the other guy coming out of that school, again, handpicked by Vladimir, is Jonathan Banks, who's now working. I
agree.
He's only got one other fighter on his roster of note. So, but there, yeah, I mean, Ronnie Shields seemed fine, but clearly, AJ's got that beer flight. He's at the draft house. He's picking and he's choosing and he's sipping, and he doesn't quite know which one he wants to get. And who knows if he's just going to go back to what he drinks regularly. You know what I mean?
Mark Breland.
Mark Breland, we take.
I don't know.
I would love that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I would love that.
All right.
Earlier, when Maestro was talking about the secret sauce, I was thinking 20 years ago that would have been right here in the Bay Area with Victor Conti's Balco.
Hey, well, if he's looking for sauce, I mean, he should go to Canelo-Plant. He had the sauce.
All right.
All right. Let's wrap it up. We'll give final thoughts here. We got a pretty decent weekend of boxing coming up. I'm going to let everyone know where we can find everyone at. Dave, what are your final thoughts for this pretty good weekend of boxing coming up, brother?
Well, you know what? November is actually probably the best month of boxing all year. What started off this year with a bang with the Ryan Garcia, and everyone had high hopes for Ryan Garcia. Things quickly decimated, and we had a really bad summer full of cancellations, COVID, PED scandals. It got kind of nasty. It was kind of hard being a boxing fan for a stretch in 2021, but I think we're really going to redeem ourselves. We've had 2 undisputed champions crowned this year. That's a big deal in the sport of boxing. And December looks like there's going to be some nice scraps coming up too. And just the holidays are upon us, and I've been really thinking about a lot of people get depressed around the holidays. And lately the news hasn't been good. We've been hearing about there's like a lack of respect for human life, whether it's the guys from the Raiders who's driving 130 miles per hour thinking he's not going to hit someone, or that concert, that got me really bummed up, the Astro World concert. Let's just have a little over the holidays, let's just remember to respect everybody and respect each other. Whether it's like driving out there and saying, all right, this time I'm going to let the road rage slide. I think we're doing a good job this year. We've been doing a great job on the Roundtable fostering a community, and I want to see that going forward, a community free of ridicule, because at the end of the day, we can get really, really passionate about the sport of boxing, but it's just important to remember why we're here, and that's because we love the sport and we want to see it continue foster and go forward and, just kill all that noise that boxing is dead. We know it's not dead right here on the round table, man. And I'm going to drop my link right now for the Shoe Shine Monday nights after G Funky show. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much, Dave, for stopping by and staying with us the whole 2 hours. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, G Funky.
Well, my final thoughts are this, man. This was a great show. We had a good time. I got a lot of good laughs in. This is really good stuff, man. I love chopping it up with the homeboys here. Regardless if we agree or disagree on topics, we keep it boxing over here. So I want to thank everybody out here who watched us live. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to everybody's channel. And look, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Bandera Roja make an impressive fashion win to put his name in the hat to make a Canelo fight, because I think that would be a big fight. So definitely looking forward to this weekend. Subscribe to the channel G Funky Boxing. Follow me on Twitter at GFunky84. And that's it, man. Thank you for having me on, Joe.
Awesome. Thank you. D-Style Boxing.
Yo, who's down with HCP? Everybody, check this out, okay? So make sure you hit the like button, right? Make sure you go to Maestro Oz after this show for overtime. I'll be there. I'll join him for as long as he's on. And I want to thank everybody. Sutter Kane, thank you for coming on again, brother. The shout out to
appreciate
everybody.
it, bro.
Yeah, man. I want to make sure that everybody understands this, man, that we appreciate the support. We appreciate you guys you being here. Without you here, none of this is possible. So we definitely appreciate all of you. And I just want to say this. I'm looking forward to the Rosado Munguia fight. I don't think Rosado's going to do it, but I want to be wrong, though. I really do want him to pull it off. Like it's I just. And I get what Maestro's saying. It's not for a title, but it still feels like that one fight that he needs to get over. Like he's never gotten over these type of fights. And I want him to win. I want him to pull it off. We'll see how it goes, but I just think Munguia is going to be a little too much for him. Shout out to everybody. Canelo Alvarez is the undisputed 168-pounder in the world. It's good to see an A-side. It's good to see a face of boxing actually pursue things like this. Actually pursue great fights, actually pursue legacy, and make money at the same time. It sets a good precedent for
He disappeared?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
for all up and coming boxers. All I had to say. That is all. Shout out to everybody, man. HCP, I'm out.
All right. Calix.
Hit me up, Calix Boxing 2.0. Hit up the channel, all the good stuff there. I'm looking forward to this weekend, obviously, and Rosado versus Munguia should be a fun fight. I'm not buying Emil Carr talked about this earlier. I'm not buying the narrative that this is Rosado's shot. Rosado has 13, 14 shots before this, and if Rosado loses this fight, guess what? As long as he rolls himself out there again, he'll get another shot like this. This is a bigger fight for Munguia. Munguia needs to pass this test, and I expect him to do that. One last point, one last parting shot. I'm reading reports that Canelo versus Plant did 800,000 buys.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Which is good, but it's also bad, right? Because I get this growing feeling, and I linked you guys to some of Canelo's comments after the fight about how he's enjoyed doing work with Heyman and Espinoza, and he looks forward to doing more work with them in the future. I get this growing feeling in my gut that's coming up that we're going to get more pay-per-views, and this Canelo and Eddie Hearn relationship that we had where Canelo came along with our monthly subscription with Eddie Hearn in the Zone. I have a feeling that that's going to be going away, and the pay-per-view model will continue to rear its ugly head, unfortunately. And that's my parting thought. Thank you for having me on. Calix Boxing 2.0.
All right. Thank you, Calix. Maestro A. ¿Qué pasa?
Well, good show. Good, lively discussion. I'm going to be going live. We're going to be talking 2 topics, Joe. You didn't address one of them tonight, which is what is undisputed, Joe. I want to hear your opinion on that.
I'm coming on.
Okay, we got to hear your opinion on that. The other one is what is a real fight? Something that I just thought of today, thanks to Mr. Sutter Kane. I don't know, was Mayweather-McGregor a real fight?
Hell no. That wasn't a real fight either.
We don't know, but we'll get into what is a real fight and what isn't a real fight. Differences of opinion, and we'll see how that go. But yeah, thank you. We're going live for HCP overtime, HCP Roundtable overtime right now. I'll be taking live calls. I'll be dropping the link. Check out Maestro A Boxing. I'll go live periodically, and I'm going to be going live regularly on my channel, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So I'll see all of y'all later. Thank you, Joe. I'm out. Check out overtime right now. I'm going to drop the link one last time. Take care.
All right. Me and you, brother. Good
I'm
show
telling
tonight.
you, extremely good show. I had a great time and stuff. Yeah, I just can't believe we sat and talked about Jake Paul, but it was okay though. It was okay. I had a great time, man. I appreciate y'all bringing me on. Like I said, I've been following y'all for years. I'm talking about like maybe 8 or 9 years, man. So it feels good to finally be on something that I've been listening to forever. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of my boxing knowledge coming up from y'all. So I appreciate like literally all of y'all, because y'all have been like literally my in my ear at the gym, when I'm driving, this regular stuff, man. Listen to y'all shows, man. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate all of y'all. Make sure to follow me on YouTube at Sutter Kane. And if you're on Instagram, Twitter, or any of that stuff, follow me, Sutter Kane NSD. And check out my new album, Violence Solves Everything. That's Sutter Kane and Red Fangoria. It's on Spotify, iTunes. It's going to be the illest workout music you ever heard. And if anything happens, I'm not responsible. So, and shout out to the Martin Jiu-Jitsu Club. That's my crew. And let's make it happen, man. I hope to be on again. And thank you, Beeb. Thank you for thanks to the whole panel, everybody. And y'all be safe. God bless. And I'm out. Peace.
Peace out, brother.
All right.
All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in the chat. Make sure that you check us out, Ringside Reporter Live, every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, with myself and Eric Lorta. Till next time, everyone have a great night. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you all soon.